How's it going, everybody? My name's Will from Ghost Hack, and today I'm going to show you how I remade one of the sounds used in the track Nostalgia 64 by Panda Eyes, and this is the sound that we're going to make today. Now, as I said, this is a sound from the track Nostalgia 64 by Panda Eyes. This was a request for the sound specifically at 2 minutes and 37 seconds of that track. And what I'm using here to make the sound really isn't that complicated. It's a Serum, a little channel pitch automation that I'll go over, and I am adding just a little bit of post-processing like an EQ, some saturation, and Soundgoodizer at the very end just to kind of squash it all together. And I am sure that Oscar probably found a little more elegant of a way to create this sound than I did, but this is just how I would go about making a sound like this. So the first thing I'm going to do right off the bat is just turn on this oscillator A, which has the Debussy wavetable. It's down 1 octave, and I have the wavetable position just all the way at the first frame. And this is because this frame right here is a very harmonic, it's a very harmonic table, especially this one frame. And as you can hear, we're already starting to hear sort of what I'm going for here. This isn't the same as just hitting one note normally, like with a saw wave or something like this. This has a harmony over it, like a 5th harmony right at the top, which was very prevalent in the original sound as well. And what I did was I added 7 voices of unison and just had a semi-tight detune here. This is just at 0.04, so not spread out too much. But I turned on oscillator B, which is actually down 3 octaves, and I have this sort of rounded looking saw. Now it is using the SawRounded wavetable that I believe you can find in the analog tab. But what I did was basically I took the first frame. It used to look something like this. It used to look a little more like this. And I clicked this right here. So now we can see all of the harmonics, like the harmonic content. And then I just right-clicked anywhere up here and hit progressive fade. Like that. So it just faded out and made it even smoother. You can see that it's now a lot smoother than it was before. That's all I did for this first frame here. So we would just have a really smooth, like low passed saw, and I have that down obviously -3 octaves. So we have like the root note of the bass. It's like a sub going through there. Now I did end up actually using the sub as well because the sub in this oscillator kind of gets messed up later. But it's down 3 octaves. I have the level all the way up, and it's just going direct out on this rounded square wave. So we're just getting a nice clean heavy sub under it. But that's basically all you have to do in the front section. This is really not that complicated of a sound. LFO 1 is controlling something, however. If we go into the matrix, we can see that the source is LFO 1, and the destination is the master tune under the globals tab. This is a tune of the entire Serum patch. And all I'm doing here is I just have it on the master tune. It's not up too high, it's just up a little bit. And it's right in the middle because you can see this is a bipolar modulation. So this would be up in pitch, and then this would be down in pitch, and then right in the middle would be normal pitch. So I have it on envelope, 1/8, pretty tight, and it's just doing a really quick slide every time the note hits. I could like reverse it, but that might not sound that good. I actually kind of like that, but this is how the original sounded. And until we get to the pitch modulation, that's all the modulation that we're doing inside of Serum. First thing I want to do is add distortion. I'm adding a good amount of tube distortion here, a really good amount. This is 85%. And when we mix in these levels together, you can see the levels are slightly different. We have one all the way at 100% and the other one just sitting at 75. If we mix those in at the correct numbers, which I believe those were the correct numbers, you know, for me, for my recreation of the sound, and we mix it into this much distortion, we get this. We now get a much sort of harder and thicker, just kind of harsh and heavy tone to go under that because the low frequencies of this oscillator are distorting with the high frequencies of this oscillator, and that's what gives it the crunch. Next up, a little bit of multiband compression. Okay, a lot of multiband compression. We're really pounding it through here, about the threshold down to like -5.4. It's a lot. Then after that, some hyperdimension to make it a little bit smoother because this is it's a very harsh and dirty sound right now. We want it to sound a little bit cleaner. So what I did was I used this hyperdimension right here. If you turn the mix all the way up, this is what we hear. It's a very kind of detuned sound because when you have it all the way on 7 and you bring these numbers up, it starts to sound very kind of atonal, like dissonant sounding. And I didn't want that all the way. I just wanted it to be a ton of voices a little bit smoother. like that, just to smoothen it out, and then we can mix it in wherever. And then after that, we have the normal dimension with the size down and the mix up a little bit. Next up, there is a little bit of reverb, not too much. The mix is at like 12%, anywhere between 10 and 15, depending on what you're doing with it would probably sound good. It's on plate, so I have the pre-delay all the way down and the size up to 27. I didn't really mess with any of these, except I turned the width all the way up, so we have a nice wide reverb. And then lastly, in Serum, we have a bit of an EQ. You can see, or well, it's really hard to see. There's a little bit of a bump right here where I have a nice wide peaking EQ here. Like if I bring the gain up, it's on like 1.9 right now. You can see what it's doing. It's right there. And I just brought this down just a little bit because originally I thought it had to be boosted more. Then listening back to the track, it really didn't have to be boosted that much. This multi-band compression just really brought out the high end a lot. And I wanted to kind of counter that by rolling up the mid frequencies. And then in the very high frequencies, I just have this just little top roll off that's really tight. The frequency is very high, like 15K. And as you can see, it's just really subtly rolling off here. That's just to control those highs. And what I did to control the pitch is actually pretty simple. What you have to do is if you're in FL Studio, you want to make sure this thing is set to 12, so you have the full range. So, you know, once you automate that, once you create an automation clip for this, which I did, you can now use these numbers to control the actual range of the pitch. I just had 2 up top and 2 below. That's kind of the standard. But after I did that, I created this pattern, where again, this is kind of similar to the pitch in Serum, where the middle is going to be exactly the right pitch. This is going to be higher in pitch, this is going to be lower in pitch. So as you can see, it jumps up to the middle here on a little swoop. And then it swoops up again, and then not much swoop, and it's kind of steady. And then it just falls off on certain notes as well. And you can customize that however you want it, but adding little pitch bends like that into your leads can kind of bring them to life a little bit more. They're not just static. It doesn't sound like a robot. It actually sounds like, you know, almost an instrument. But that's how the start of the sound was made. And all that's left is really the post-processing, which without the post-processing, it sounds like this. It's pretty much the same thing. Like all this post-processing is doing is really just bringing out, you know, what I want to bring out more, just making the sound louder, bringing out certain frequencies like the low frequencies. I'm boosting the lows so we get more bass. I'm ducking down a little bit around 400 and I'm just rolling off the very top with this EQ. Because it is also going through some saturation right here in this patcher. I have the high band, the mid band, and the low band separated. You can see with Maximus, I'm soloing the mid band, soloing the high, and soloing the low right there. So we have it all split, and it's running through these soft clippers, and all of these soft clippers look like this. I just mess with these knobs to look like that, and that's gonna add a lot of power. It goes from this to this. Then lastly, to just top it off, just a little bit of Soundgoodizer. I don't want much. I just want just a dash on top, because like I said, it can really just, you know, glue everything together and make it sound like one. And again, like I said before, this may not be the most elegant recreation that I've ever done in my life, but if I were to make a sound like that used in the track, which I encourage you to go listen to and kind of A/B my version with Panda Eyes version, this was just kind of the way that I would make a sound like that if I wanted to use a sound like that in a track, and I tried to get it as close as I possibly could. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Ask Me Music, for the request. And if anyone else here has requests of sounds that they'd like to see, or just, you know, requests for videos, feel free to leave those in the comments. We like looking through the comments, and we like seeing what you guys want created. Also, if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel, because we are constantly putting out new music production videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Happy producing.